Hey, good morning, friends. What is today? Today is the 25th of June, and what's behind me is the Mustang, me and Steve's project 65 Fastback Mustang. And let me just show you what we did yesterday. All the metalwork is pretty much almost done, which is great, fantastic. This stuff right here is called heat paste, and I put that up here yesterday when I welded in the corners of the roof, because you remember last week I put the glue in to glue the roof down, and this heat paste, it did its job, because it was blue and then it turns white when it absorbs the heat, because I put in a lot of heat here, you know, on this section here, okay? And I didn't want to upset the glue, because the glue, the panel bond will separate when heat is introduced to it. And because the roof is a combination weld and glue, remember the back and the front of the roof was welded along with the corners, but the sides of the roof along the drip rail were glued with a panel bond. So that was done successfully yesterday, and this heat paste did its job, so I'll end up throwing that away. But I wanted to show you now the Mustang II design front suspension that we're putting on this vehicle. In case y'all want to know, doing this kind of work is expensive. The parts are very expensive. The labor is very expensive. Even though I'm donating my labor to this car because it's a jointly owned car, and it's a joint venture between Steve and myself, because we've been, you know, friends since we were like 8 or 9 years old. So anyways, these are the plates, the reinforcement plates. I think they come from, God, I can't remember the name. Steve will probably comment in and say the name of these plates, the company that manufactured these plates. You know, they go along the frame rail, and this one's partially welded in because I ran out of gas yesterday. But I mean, literally ran out of gas, welding gas. So I put the new bottle on. But this one we did yesterday. You know, welded this on, and there's going to be a little bit of grinding, I think, right along the top of the frame rail, or maybe on the inside down here. Maybe there's a little grinding, I don't know, to dress it up, because this K-member, Mustang II design K-member, goes in between, you know, of course, where the other one was, and then we've got replacement panels for where the shock towers were. But what's going to have to happen is this car is going to be coming off this pink dolly next week, or no later than 2 weeks from now. It's coming off the dolly to weld on these bottom plates on the bottom of the frame rail. They go in conjunction with, you know, the plates we've already welded in place. So it's going to come off that pink dolly, and then the car is going to go on this rotisserie, probably with some modifications to the rotisserie itself, because I built that rotisserie very quickly to size for an E-body Chrysler car, which that Challenger will come off. That Challenger will go on this pink dolly for building, you know, doing all pretty much the same work on that we've done on this car we'll do on the on the Challenger. So quick recap, quick survey of all the work. If anybody has followed this work on this car for this amount of time, it's taken us several years to do this. But in those several years of work has not been daily working on this vehicle. There's been times over the years where 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 months went by with no work at all being done, nothing. And then there's been times where, you know, we get 2 days a week, if we're lucky. 2 days of consecutive work on this vehicle. And, you know, that takes time over time. It takes a lot of time to do that. All the new metal, we welded these in yesterday. Those little brackets that tie in the inner fender to the cowl. You know, it's a small little item, but they really make it strong. Stronger, I should say. So, anywho, so maybe I can set this camera up and film some welding. Yeah, I think I can. Let me just see here real quick if this will do it. Yep. Yep. That'll work. So I'm gonna put it on pause and I'll resume when I'm welding. Well, yesterday I was rather stupidly, I welded for about an hour without my welding jacket on, and I got a nice little burn, which I know better than to do that. But I didn't practice that yesterday. So wearing this welding jacket right now, is I'm feeling the burn a little bit, folks. Feeling the burn. So I'm not going to make that mistake again today as I undertake to make some sparks. Yeah, I'm going around packing this in. On the corners. And fighting that weld through primer. The weld through primer gives some feedback like, hey, I don't want to accept this. You know, I put that spark on, I put that heat into it, and the weld-through primer does its job. It resists a little bit, and then it burns, and then it seals up. That's why you really should use weld-through primer, so you don't have any issues with rust coming underneath it. Yep. So, let's see. my welding technique is I like to run a very, very hot torch, a lot of amperage. If I'm running oxyacetylene, I run really hot torches that way. So I'm always just above, just a little bit above the, I don't know, the required heat range. So I do a lot of stitch welding. Primarily all the welding I do is on sheet metal, but this stuff right here is 1/8 inch thick. Yeah, it's 1/8 inch, so that's a little bit thicker, but that's still relatively thin in the construction world. Talking about heavy construction stuff, but this is really strong for this kind of application on the frame. So, so bottom line is I run hot torches, and most welders worth anything will tell you they do the same thing. They run really hot stuff, hot torches. So, it just came from learning how to do this. You know, because I went to 44 Bravo school in the Army. You know, 44 Bravo is the metalworking school. Or at least that's what it used to be called, 44 Bravo. And then I went on to do the advanced course, the 44 Echo, which is the machinist course, because I knew that being an Intel guy on the outside world was probably a fruitless venture. I didn't want to be some bureaucrat sitting behind a desk somewhere pushing papers and thinking about this or that analysis wise. As an Intel guy, I'd rather be on the ground doing stuff like this. So this is very enjoyable for me. Anyways, that's about enough video for right now. I'll say goodbye, have a good day, tschüss. Be good to one another, be honest, be real, be genuine. That's all that matters. That's all that matters in life, is that you can do those things, help out one another in those tasks, just being a good human being. That's what I try to be. And we grow in time, we become different people over time, and people we may have had relationships with in the past that may have been good several years ago, but as we grow, they grow, we all grow, and those relationships no longer become valid or important or useful. So, but the cars never change. They're always still a pain in the ass. A lot of stuff to do. Anyways, folks, I gotta go. It's gonna be really, really hot today. So I wanna get cracking on this before it gets really too hot. I'll finish up this weld on this frame, transition over to the 49 to work on that over the axle hump panel. And Ed, if you're watching this, my apologies to you, sir, for taking so long on your car. It's not lost to me. It really is not. So, it's all about balance, and I'll get this done, and we'll have success. Take care, folks. Bye-bye. See you.